I just like messing around with these catchphrases, and I think I even showed this before at one point. But here it is here. It's a sign of the times. So here's the sine wave of the times. People thinks it means it's showing you when you say, oh, well, that woman got murdered. It's a sign of the times. Well, it is in a way, but really, if you were to write it out, here's the sine wave of the times. In other words, in the phase or the cycle, we're at a specific point. And so it would be a sign of the times. In other words, in the sine wave, which is your in the cycle as it goes round, right? It's showing you where that is in the cycle, the period of which this thing has happened. So it's a sign of the times, and the times, of course, being the X being Saturn. So it's a sign of the times, not it's this, not this. That's the difference. One's a sign of the times, the other one is a sign, like a Post-it sign. But people don't understand when they're saying it's a sign of the times. Do you understand? Do you understand what I mean? The sign of the times. In a cycle, here's a cycle, right? Right here. Just move this up here. In a cycle, you're going to have an A and an O. Okay? That's the alpha and the omega. If we were talking in electrical terms, because it's all the same thing, but there's a spiritual aspect to this, which is the whole God thing, which he really is everything they say. But in this place, this is an alpha and the omega. So the alpha is the beginning, the omega is the end. So we would have to, this is the first and this is the last. Okay, but it's actually reversed, because if it's going this way, the A would be over here and the O would be over there. But just for the sake of this, so in this phase, because a phase is a complete cycle. Let's say at the one point the woman got killed. At this point, okay, that would be a sign of the times. And in essence, at this point in the cycle is when she got murdered. People don't understand what my point is, people understand what they're saying. It's a sign of the time. In this cycle, people are being murdered. So that's a sign of the times. But it's not a sign like, oh, because there's bodies laying around, that's a clue. No, it's the sign. It's the way the power is flowing at that point in the phase. That's the sign of the times. Hopefully that made some sense. I know it probably confused the dog shit out of most people, but that's what it is. These little catchphrases are usually very occultic or very high physics, and they're put out there. I told you, you can't blame what you call the Illuminati, because first of all, that name is ridiculous, and second of all, they laid it all out for you to see. It's just that it's not even hidden. This shit is so in your face, it's not even hidden. It's hidden because you hid it. You're the one that hid it because you never tried to look for it. So technically, yeah, I think they're a bunch of ball busters, but how are they to be blamed because you're too fucking lazy? Or your family doesn't want to hear it or whatever. That ain't on them. See, everybody here, because this is a faction of hell, everybody's a slave to somebody here. Go look at the football, basketball stars, all of those guys. They're in lockdown just like we are. They ain't going nowhere. Not right now, they ain't. Maybe never. But the bottom line, everybody is a slave here. Everybody pays somebody. Trust me. That's why Jesus say, pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Because in this place, you are going to pay. One way or another, you will pay. Nobody gets a free lunch. Nobody gets a free ride. It's just that there's people that understand what this place is, and they know how to ride through the cycle better than somebody else. You know, it's like If you ever seen these guys driving sports cars, there's one guy driving, there's a guy sitting next to him. That's because that guy is looking at a map of the race course, and he's saying there's a corner coming up, slow down. Well, if that guy didn't have that guy next to him, that guy's going to speed and go right off the freaking track and right into the fucking woods. And you see this all the time racing. That's what that other guy in the seat is. He's telling that guy there's a straightaway coming up, so as soon as we come out of this corner, go. You know, those aren't cross-country races or whatever. They do a lot of those in Europe. But, you know, but if you don't know that, you're going to barrel right off the track and go and crash. So there's people that understand this place better than others, but nobody just gets a free ride here. Everybody's answering to somebody. Even that fucking douchebag Pope, he's got to answer to somebody. And the guy above him's got to answer to somebody. So, you know, just getting back to it, isn't this interesting? Here's a cycle and that says ox. Even that, how goofy that is that even shows up like that. But hopefully you'll understand what a sign of the times means.